How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. And you clicked on the link, and yeah, it's bad news. Tomas Linberg, mainly known for being a frontman of At the Gates, has unfortunately died of cancer. I saw the other day, that I didn't really read any articles or anything, but I did see headlines that he'd been diagnosed and thought nothing more of it. To be honest, I didn't realise how serious it was, and I've just Luke Pantera Cast and Maiden Cast has just messaged me saying, have you heard about Thomas? And I was like, oh, don't. I'm like, for fuck's sake. And this has come out of nowhere, and it's hit me like a fucking train. To be honest with you, I've been following this guy since, well, I know since 2002, pretty much since I've been, you know, going to gigs. I mean, it's I didn't get into At the Gate straight away. Funnily enough, the first I was first made aware of Thomas. The first time I saw him was actually with the Great Deceiver, and I know I've got this somewhere because I spotted this CD the other day, and I thought, hold on, I ain't listened to that in a while. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, this was a fantastic album, and I saw Great Deceiver opening for Napalm Death, and it was on the Order of the Leech tour. So is it 2000? Yeah, 2002. And this is a fantastic album. It's not what you think it is. It's kind of Killing Joke and Joy Division kind of inspired, but it's still metal. But I mean, check out a track like The Living End on this album. But I actually got into them first, and then got into At the Gates afterwards. And Slaughter of the Soul, I mean, once I heard that was it. There was no going back after that, and it's still one of my favourite albums to this day. Obviously as well, he did Dysphere. He did a couple of albums with the Great Deceiver, and he did the first couple of Night Rage albums as well. And I mean, one of the best memories I have is when in my band days, playing Bloodstock in 2006, and that was the big headline. It was At the Gates of Reformed, and I remember, seeing them then, and it was one of my best memories of live music, and just sort of thinking how lucky I am that I get to see At the Gates, and I've not paid for it because we got a pass because we were playing there on one of the smaller stages. I shook hands with him at the Great Deceiver gig and said, like, wow, really good set, like you do. I said hello to him at the Bloodstock Festival as well. He was just hanging about by a stall with his wife and kids, and I shook hands with him and met him then. And I was lucky enough to interview him as well. I was on Skype with him for about a good hour for an interview for Metal Legion. That was during it must be the last At the Gates album now. Let's bring up Metal Archives. To The Nightmare of Being. 2021. It's flown by. And I had a really good talk with him. We talked a little bit about everything. We spoke about H.P. Lovecraft, which normally when I finish an interview, I ask for some album recommendations. I'm just like top 5 albums, or I go like, right, Priest or Maiden, and then whatever the answer is, I'll go, right, what's your favourite album by him? I'll get like a list out of him, and in the end with him, I ended up getting a book list off of him. Just like I ended up asking him to recommend me some books, But yeah, he was really, really cool to talk to. Really, you know, he has that, he had that, I don't know, that calm persona, that Swedish, the way they just speak very calmly and softly and matter of factly, you know. But he had a good, he had a sense of humour. He was just really nice to talk to, and just one of the nice guys of metal. I say I saw at the Gates at Bloodstock, and then I saw them again a couple of tours later. Did I see them? I think I saw them at the Forum, and I can't remember who it was with now. I think it might have been Cradle of Filth. I'm not sure. I'm kicking myself now for not seeing them at the Underworld when they played Slaughter of the Soul in full. I don't know why I didn't go to that. It must have been I must have just been a poxy time financially where I couldn't commit to it, or maybe I just don't know. But yeah, let's look through what he's, you know, at the Gates speaks for itself. I mean, if I remember reading a book on Swedish death, it was just called Swedish death metal, and how much he was involved in the formation. I mean, at the Gates came from sort of off the back of Grotesque, but he was also in Liars in Wait. But like I say, Slaughter of the Soul is one of the most important albums ever. I mean, it's up there with Rain in Blood, you know, in terms of melodic heavy metal, and you know what kind of is now known as sort of mellow death, with what sort of In Flames and bands like that are doing. I mean, that was one of the pivotal albums with the whole Swedish death metal, because Swedish death metal always had like a darkness to it, like a gritty, earthy darkness to it, but there was always melody woven in. Maybe not with some of the earlier albums, you know, but there was that sort of chainsaw guitar. But Sword of the Soul is just a masterpiece, and Blinded by Fear is just, some songs are just perfect. You know, there's every note is in its exact place where it needs to be. Everyone is firing all cylinders on their instruments. The drums are amazing. The vocals are amazing. The chorus just hits. The riffs, the melody. Ace of Spades by Motorhead. Rain in Blood by Slayer. Davidian by Machine Head. I'm just riffing now. You know, Blinded by Fear is one of those songs, and then just dun 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 gold. You know, straight into Slaughter of the Soul. It looks like I'm about to get company. You alright? I'm just recording a video.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright?
Right, dinner is officially on.
Alright, thank you. Alright. There you go. That's what you need. A wife that brings you beer while you're recording the video. So I don't know. I looked over here so you might be in it. I don't know.
I hope not.
Well, cheers, Thomas. Fuck, man. Like, I wasn't expecting. Where the fuck was I? Right. So yeah, Sword of the Soul. It's just a pivotal album, you know. But everything Out the Gates did was great. Like those first couple of albums leading up to it were awesome, and it was funny how it was all just forming. And then when they reformed and did the other albums, I remember Thomas. Funny enough, I remember Thomas saying to me at the time when I interviewed him that time, it was like you would. In those early albums, it's like the sound was there, but it was all just laid out, and then bit by bit, it felt like with Sword of the Soul, you had just condensed everything into its like that was At the Gates in their purest form. Yeah, it was at their most stripped down, and everything, all of the elements were there, but they were all there, and it was all tight, like your whole sound had been put through a cleansing fire, and that album was the steel that was left. And he agreed with me, and he said, "With is it To Drink the Night Itself? What was the first album they did when they came back? No, At War with Reality. he is like, yeah, it was condensed and it was like thing. It says, and then we wanted to expand from it again. So that was what we would want the sound to grow from again, and that's what the mission was with At the War with Reality. And then with To Drink the Night itself, they wanted it stripped down and raw and going back to the basics. And I can't remember what they said they were doing with Nightmare of Being, but that was a really good album. And Grotesque as well, that demo, and Liars in Wait was a great EP. I forget, I'm just going through archives now, I forgot he was in Lockup. I mentioned he did the first couple of Night Rage albums. I forgot. He actually did an album with The Crown as well, didn't he? Did a one-off with them. And The Lurking Fear, which is one of his latest projects, that was all... we mentioned like H.P. Lovecraft. That was all H.P. Lovecraft based, lyrically. Yeah, it's a terrible loss. I was just looking at the. Let's read the Blabbermouth article here. So Tomas Linberg, Swedish melodic death metal pioneers at the gates, has died after a battle with cancer. His family is confirmed to Swedish public service television. I don't know what, I can't pronounce that. 52 years old. That's my famous singer. It was announced the singer was receiving around the clock care for an unspecified hospital after being diagnosed with adonic cystic carcinoma, a rare, slow-growing but aggressive cancer that typically develops in the salivary glands, particularly the minor salivary glands at the head and neck. Lindberg received diagnosis in as far... I didn't realise it was as... Well, he only actually... Yeah. Diagnosis in 2023, which led to major surgery that removed a large portion of the roof of his mouth. He had also undergone radiation treatment and had been on the path to recovery, but then doctors found traces of the cancer in early 2025. Yeah, this is the thing, like, I mean, it seems when someone goes through cancer, it's like they just get torn to pieces, and then what's left of them is just expected just to stand up. And I don't know, I'm not going to go down any rabbit holes, but I don't know, it just seems like the treatment we use always seems to do more damage than good, and it doesn't really seem to help in the long run. But anyway, May 2025, an undisclosed setback placed Thomas in long-term care. August 15th, released a message. So this was a month... Yeah, right. I saw something... I thought it was the other day, but yeah, it looks like it was a month ago. Oh, further than... On August 15th, released a message written in March of 2025, where he reflected on the previous 15 months. Right, so this is from him. Hello, everyone. I guess some of you have been wondering why it's been so silent on the At the Gates front lately. Well, in December 2023, I was diagnosed with adenoid cystic carcinoma, cancer in the mouth and palate, and have since then gone through a lot, and it has been a very tough year. First, there was a major surgery where they took a big part of the roof of the mouth. This was followed by radiation therapy for 2 months, and ever since it has been a long, hard path towards recovery. Now, in the beginning of 2025, they have found some remains of the cancer, and it is inaccessible by surgery or radiation. So we will see what the next step is, and it's probably some form of chemotherapy to keep the cancer in check. Luckily we recorded vocals for the demos for the new album before all this happens. The last version of the vocals, the ones that will end up on the album, were recorded in one day, mostly one takes, the day before surgery, just to make sure we had the album, so to speak. So the vocals were actually recorded before the rest of the album. A bit different, but it felt good to have it done. We now have decided not to wait any longer to release this album. We had first planned to wait with the release until we knew if when I would be able to sing again. We were able to support the release and were able to support the release with shows. Now, when everything in the future is a bit more unsure, it feels good to deliver this album. It is an album that we are very proud of, and is the first time in 10 years that Jonas and I have worked together with Anders writing an album's worth of music. It is a bit more of a return to the roots, probably best described as a mix between the last two albums we did with Anders, Slaughter of the Soul and War of Reality. Hope you will enjoy it. Please respect that we don't want to make a big thing of this, and that we won't be answering interviews concerning the cancer, the treatment or the recovery. We just wanted this to be out in the open, as we wanted to explain to our fans why I've been so quiet for such a long time. And I hope you are well, take care of yourselves, your loved ones, and the time you have on this earth. And then, yeah. Well, all I can say is, folks, is blast Slaughter of the Soul, a full volume tonight. Listen to At the Gates, go through those albums, go through some of these other things. Check out The Great Deceiver, definitely, especially that first album. They did an album after this as well. Have I got that somewhere? It had a white cut. It was in like a digipack. It had a white cover. Yeah, The Lurking Fear. Check out those first couple of Night Rage albums. Night Rage are a great band anyway. There's Lock Up as well. You know, the guy's left behind a great catalogue of music, and he's going to go down in history as one of the great contributors to metal. And we do have a At the Gates album in the can to look forward to, I guess. And the fact that he's recorded it all in one take, you know those vocals are going to be raw. And I'm guessing he had in the back of his head some uncertainty. So yeah, it's not good, but just celebrate what we have, and yeah, like I say, blast that music loud and celebrate the life of Tomas Linberg. God bless. Cheers. And I'll see you back with another video, which is hopefully a bit more upbeat. Thanks, everyone. Let me know in the comments as well, you know, what was your favourite At the Gates album? Did you ever see him live? What did you think of his other projects as well? You know, let's talk about that and keep his memory going. So, thanks a lot, everyone. Cheers.